match, let's mix and match. Well, we never mixed, but we matched. And then the next year, Dennis decided to take over and became Wednesday Golf, and that ran how many years, Denny? 15 years, you know, so a lot of fun memories with Albert. And then there was one great golf memory that many of you will hear this story for the first time. So Jimmy Ho and Albert and I went to Fort Myers. I think it was like 3 or 4 years in a row we went down there. One of my fraternity brothers lived in Fort Myers on a Donald Ross golf course. And we would go down and play, and we'd go over to Naples and see all the farm net guys were down there. We would bounce around. So one afternoon we'd come home and we're pretty well oiled. And my buddy's mother was at the door, and she came out and said, "Hey guys, it's really nice to meet all of you." And he said, "Hi, I'm Alan. I mean Albert." And of course he was referring to, you know, Alan Burnham, his long friend, and Alan the dog who we had. And Ho and I just looked at each other like, "You got fucking kidding me." And the banter that I witnessed between Ho and Albert, those two guys are up there now looking down here. They gotta be laughing their asses off. I mean, the stuff I saw them do together, the love they had for each other, you know. And Albert would always look at Ho and go, "You fucking cock!" I don't know how many times I'd go in that shop, and I'd come in and he'd be somewhere, and I would just shout, "Fucking cock!" I'd go, "Honey, come and find out." And, you know, it was, I mean, just a lot of fun memories with Albert, and I remember the saddest memory I had with Albert was when Phil died. And Phil had passed away, and, you know, poor Albert, he wanted to bury him in the yard, and I said, "All right, let's go." I dug a hole, and, you know, we buried Phil, and I remember we went to Mahoney's and picked out some flowers and put it there. And poor Albert just sobbed. He really loved his animals, you know. He loved his animals, and he loved people. And the last thing I'll say to you, Lily, you had a really great dad, because he would have been a good dad to anybody, because he was so good to my boys, all three of them. And I remember a great story one time. We had gone over to the shop, and it had just rained, torrential rain, and there was some mud out there. Well, my youngest, James, he was part of the Casually Nude Club, and he loved to take his clothes off and run around. And the next thing you know, Mac, his older brother, is with him, and the two of them are naked, and they're playing in the mud. And I think Albert wanted to take his clothes off and join him. I wouldn't let him, I wouldn't have cared. But, his love of my sons, and they played in your dollhouse, and he just was such a great dad and such a great person. And I feel so honored and lucky to have a friend like Albert and to enjoy all the years that I had with him. So here's to you, Albert. Someday we'll be up there with you.
Rick, Dennis, Rick. You gotta drag him up there. Yeah. Oz. Somebody's coming. Go, Ken. All right.
This is amazing. I just think first thing came when I thought softball. It's amazing, We have Cozy. We started off with the Clam Diggers, went from the Clam Diggers to our heads to the Stark Ravens to the Ravens. We have the question marks are here, Cozy's is here. The Nine Wonders are here. Thank you, Dougie. And it's just amazing the fraternity of softball created, the friendships that, and of course I don't want to get into which team was better because we all have our bias about that. But I will say we had the beautiful sisters and we had the Ravettes. And no other team can Mallory's couldn't be here today. What do you say about Albert? I was Albert's coach. What a joke. You never coached Albert. Albert, this is what I want you to do. Albert, it just didn't matter. We had just a wonderful experience, a wonderful guy. I remember meeting him way back when at the Ritz, the Office. The Office, when the Ritz was the Ritz before it became a music hall. Anyway, when the Ritz was the Ritz, we'd sit there. I'd sit there. I was the only guy of all my friends. I'm the one who's not a builder. So they're all sitting there with the pencils in their ear, writing their plans on the latest plans on the napkins. And went, what a waste of time this is. And there's Albert talking about his plans. Albert did do some work, but I was married to Patty. Patty still has the shop. Albert came up. Albert was not fastidious. Albert was a perfectionist. Albert did the buns. If you go, Albert had the buns. Every bun he made was in there, every single wooden bun. Patty would say, Albert, you done yet? He goes, no, buns, buns, buns. So between buns and softball, and the fact that I'm here today with all these other people, Albert is just one of a kind. I will save Albert's impersonation for Andre later on. But Albert, we miss you and Jim and all the rest of the guys, and it's wonderful to see everybody here today. Albert, thank you.
Dennis, you have, yes, Dennis, come on. Okay, Jim Wallen.
Hi. I knew Albert and I were on the Ravens together, and I knew him a lot on the island, so we played a lot of softball together, but we did a lot of boat deliveries together, several down in the Caribbean, and there's a lot of other people even who are here tonight who were on trips with me. Bonnie Menton was there, Coach Colbert was on, Betsy Shea. But Albert, I delivered a lot of boats that no one else wanted to deliver, a real, as they would say, to people. And I can't say it politely, the shit boxes of the Caribbean. And I'd take them down from Florida to St. Thomas, a lot of deliveries like that. And Albert, no matter how bad it was, and that's a bad trip, it's to weather, you're getting beat up all the time. It's like getting slapped in the face every 8 seconds or something. With the spray coming in, and Albert always had a smile on his face. It never bothered him. Albert he was always cheerful, was always good. Everything was great. But I do remember this was sort of an example of his attitude. We were on a boat that had one winch handle. And a winch handle on a yacht is kind of really helpful. And I had told Albert a bad joke from high school, but basically it was about a woman who wanted some groceries, and she kept saying, I want some onions, and the storekeeper said, lady, what happens when you take the fuck out of onions? She goes, there ain't no fucking onions. And he said, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So, it was a pretty lame high school type joke, but I told it to Albert, and one day I came up on deck, and Albert just goes, hey, what happens when you take the fuck out of winch handles? And there was, that was it, no winch handles for the rest of the trip. But so he always had a sense of humor about him, and he always was fun. And the whole thing about relating to the way he related to kids too. When he was a island member of Farm Net, and I was up here. I did a lot of these deliveries to Ho, by the way, too, Ho and Albert, so they were something together. Oh, no, at sea for a couple of weeks. Hey, Albert, hey, Albert, howdy. But so we played golf together, and I'd bring my kids. My kids were little, 6 and 7, and Albert was always like, trying to help the kids out to become good golfers. He tried to coach me and be a good golfer, which is not a really successful project. And he was a wonderful person, and he and Ho were wherever they are, up there, or down there, or around there, or at sea somewhere. They're all there, and we miss him. Freddie Croft too was another one. We miss him.
Somebody come on, us. Go ahead. Anybody in the back? You maybe get Greg.
I'm just killing time until I can folks finish to speak.
Where?
Albert
Suspenders.
was a thoughtful person. Besides all the sporting he did, I met him through Howie and Dennis and Johnny O. And so I knew him through that. And my wife knew Suzanne through teaching. And we invited Suzanne and Albert to dinner one night, and I hadn't finished my house. I'd been working on it for 2 years. I was out of money. He probably sensed that I was stressed. And the thoughtful person that he was, he brought his tools with him and said, what can I do before dinner? And I had a door jamb and a door, first floor bathroom door, and he did the installation. So every day in my house, I think of Albert.
Aww. That's great.
You were there.
I was there, I don't remember.
There you go.
I have a quick little
Hot
story that you guys may not know. Am I the right?
Closer, close. Okay, close.
So, I've known Joe about a year and a half. He left his dog Annie, golden retriever, with me. Oh, and T, I'm sure, right? So I have 2 golden retrievers. I'm in my mom's house on West Chop. Joe told me, kind of probably as he was getting on the plane, oh, by the way, I had a red with another golden, so you might have puppies. Like, I'm not sure if they took. So, flash forward, not that long, puppies are born. In my mother's kitchen. And the first one comes out, and I'm like, it's black. And I'm like, Annie, lick it off, because it's probably whatever. You know, I've never had a litter of puppies before. Black. Next puppy. We had 8 black puppies.
Nice.
I finally talked to Joe because he's in the Caribbean, and you know, we no cell phones, whatever. He goes, well, there was that one night. Alan, that's why I'm telling the story, was in the house with Annie. And so I called Albert, and this is to me a testament of his character. He was there for the winter, as was I, and he said, what can I do to help? What can I do for you? And it was April, and I was like, you know what, if I could just have an outside puppy pen. The next day he was there, and he built an outside puppy pen.
Nice.
And I never forgot that, because that to me is a real gentleman. He could have said, oh, I know it's mine.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Dan Morin's son. You know, like, I look at Albert, he was like such an influential person when I was young. Like, we moved to Idaho, he bought land with his brothers, and like, they were like trying to, excuse me for a second. I haven't got it this year. So like, they're like, making a property, Fairhaven, want to make this like fun mecca of people to come to and all that. And they started building. You were there, Susie. You know, and all of that. And like they started doing that. Like I was like a young kid, and Albert was so weird. He was so weird. He was so fun though. Like, why is this guy showing up off a plane with a crutch? You know, did he break his leg? Did he have this going on? Why is he like here, like now? Like, so like you never know. And then like, you know, like Susie and you and Albert came out to Idaho a couple times to like cultivate that property. And it was like really fun to see because like, you know, like you just see everybody so happy about like trying to make something happen. And progress, you know, like sort of like the vineyard has progressed. Jesus Christ. So like, it was like fun to watch him, but like he was like such a fun guy to be around. He's the guy, I'm like so young, and he just like light a fart. You know? While you're taking a shower. And like he was just like that fun uncle.
Yeah.
And like was just like dressed so nice and like carried himself so well, and it was like so fun to watch. And like he did that throughout, and he was over fastidious. He was a perfectionist for sure. He didn't like anybody like dabbling into his craft. It was really hard for him to deal with. But like what I would say is like he gave opportunity. I was like 18 years old, Dave Maddox was there, you know, playing second base. Anyone else was playing on a team? I think it was who or what? What, when, where, how? I don't know. But like, you gotta like have that opportunity to be out there. And as a kid, I'm just like playing that, and I'm playing baseball or softball with my Uncle Albert and my dad. and all of that. And you know, Dave Maddox like was my baseball coach and like saw me like work. Like opportunity created opportunity. He got me a job at the Black Dog Tavern. You know, like way back when it was before like it was like a scene, or maybe it was a scene. So like it was just like I liked that about him. I mean, you know, like I loved him about it. And like yeah, he was a hard dude. Everybody knows that, right? So it was just like fun to see him, and he would hang on his every word. I mean, I would get off of work and just go like over to his shop just to see what he's gonna say next.
Yeah.
You know, like how am I gonna hold on to this? How am I gonna like feel about this? Sports, Jesus Christ. Everybody here probably sat in his shop and watched sports with him. And you get all like just intellectual about like golf, what Tiger Woods is doing, what like, you know, like who's hitting, like how the Boston Red Sox are doing, like that's a big one. And like, so that was fun. And, but like also opportunity like, hey, let's go out to Farm Neck and hit golf balls. And like go play golf. And like, just like have that ability to just fold you in. Now he stopped swimming in the ocean. I don't know when, because he never was into that. But like he would take you there, and like it was so fun, you know. Like I came here when I was 15 for the first time, and I was helping him. I remember he's like trying to like level some ground because he had a boat, and like I'm barefoot, and he just stomps a frickin' brick right into my foot. And his first reaction is like, you need some whiskey. And he like, helped out, you know? Or like this or that. Or Aunt Susie, you helped me out like when I like, you know, like sharks were chasing me and like Quina. And like, I was like cut up from the muscles like running up a thing, you know? Like, everybody was like really nice and very beautiful. And it was such a beautiful community. And it's something I miss. But it was very influential on my life about how like you treat people and like how you move on. Thank guys for this. Ciao.
Johnny O, do you want to talk? Come on, I know a lot of you have stories.
Dennis?
Is that Carl Fry?
It is.
Carl Fry.
I saw that.
Carl
Hi,
Fry.
Carl. Oh, he's got notes.
So I had a piece of furniture at Albert's house for about 10 years.
Turn it on. I turned it on.
I had a piece of furniture in Albert's house for about 10 years. Some people thought it was a boat, but Albert thought it was a piece of furniture. 45 years ago, I worked on the show note for the first year, and Bob Douglas made me spend all my summer wages on a broken down old cat boat. And I spent the next 10 years with Albert putting that boat back together. And by the time it was done, it was a piece of furniture on the water. So I think about Albert at least once a month, because the full moon rises, and every August on the full moon we go sailing in that boat. And half the time we never make it back to any harbor, so we just find a place to throw out the anchor and swim ashore, and we get home around 2 in the morning, and that would be that. But for the 15 years that I owned that boat, it was never in better condition than the day I sold it. And a lot of Albert's hard work and love and our friendship went into that.
Good to see you.
I want to hear those funny stories. Okay, Dennis. Look at the outfit. Look at her.
So I met Albert on New Year's Eve, 1980. I was working at the Tin Roof, Tenant Bar. The lights went up at 12:30, and this guy with a giant afro walks up to me and says, "I've seen you play hockey. Can you play softball?" I said, "Yeah, I think I can play a little softball." He said, "Well, meet me at he actually took my address, and the next day he was there to play catch. January 1st, 1981, we started playing catch. And that went on for 12 or 13 years. You know, he was always fun. Yeah, I can't even think of any other stories at the moment, but I'll never forget it. He was wonderful. Thank you.
Right on.
It's frightening always following Dennis, and I've been following him for about 40 years. But just going back to the baseball thing, in 1981 was when we all did it. We're wearing this shirt. I'm going to tell you the story about the shirt in a second. But Albert wrote a manifesto about baseball. I think it was 35 pages. It was dedicated to Alan. And the dog, and basically it was all about baseball, but it was also about life. It was about baseball and why baseball was an important part of life, and it was beautifully written. I mean, it was a terrific manifesto. So anyway, I don't remember where I met Albert, but he lowered his standards and invited me to be on the baseball team. And at that point, I was hanging around the waterfront in Vineyard Haven, and we had our name was the Chicago Cubs. That was our team. And I walk into the Coastwise Packard office on the Coastwise, and Bob Douglas is from Chicago, and he's a member of the Chicago Historical Society, and he has their bulletin in there. And I'm looking through it, and I come across this article about a team in Chicago in the early 1900s that was called the Chicago Whales. You can't make this stuff up. The Chicago Whales. And so I show it to David. And so I show it to Albert. And the next thing I know, it's got great photographs of the team. And they've got these knickers on. Here, Dennis. And Albert goes up to Valerie Beggs on Main Street in Vineyard Haven and says, "Make me a uniform. I want to make this. Here's the picture." And so we get these knickers. I mean, maybe the Nine Wonders and the Ravens, they may have won a few more games, but we were the best goddamn looking baseball team you ever had. It was really fun, and actually, I'll end with this, but it allowed me to have one of the greatest moments of my life, because there was a fashion show at the Hot Tin Roof, and they showed all these wonderful designers' clothing, and because Valerie was in it, they asked, and I don't know how this ended up being just Ross Gannon and me, but they asked all of us on the team if we would be in the fashion show, and so wearing our uniforms, so that was our uniform. And we got to be in this fashion show, and we got to walk out with our baseball bats on our shoulders. But I'm telling you, the best part of the whole thing was we were in the dressing room, and those women were just flipping things on and around. One of the great moments of my life.
Thank you so much. I love that.
Okay, I don't know how many people were going to go. So I have a ton of material on Albert, so I'll try to keep it brief, but geez. First of all, the woodworking part, so technically I was Albert's last boss. He and I worked together for kind of his last functional job at Soy Cleaning Company. And he was a great teammate and a great manager. So first of all, I have this old school plane, which Albert had a ton of these. And I'm going to give this to Lil if she wants it. If not, someone else can take it. It's the kind of thing you put on your shelf. All his old school stuff, it was so cute. It's all baseball related. Albert came to work with me, and I didn't really know the guy, but we were both baseball guys. We were both baseball managers, and so we got on very well. It was a pleasure working with Albert. He was good. And then he became my friend. Like Howie said earlier, Albert was awesome to my children as well. The shop being sort of one of those semi-dangerous playgrounds on Friday nights for them. It was good fun. I think Lil babysat my kids a couple of times. But Albert's that thing Albert wrote about baseball, there was one expression in there that sums it up for baseball: relaxed intensity. That's how you play baseball, folks. Never forget. That's in Albert's book. So the one thing I was, like Albert, I was kind of a pack rat, and I was rifling through the stuff because I still worked at the same job. There's a lot of Albert reminders in the shop, believe me. But Albert ran a pitcher's pool for 35 years, I believe. It started sort of before rotisserie baseball, in a way. So Albert ran a pitcher's pool, and I got in on the end, and I know a lot about baseball, okay? Albert knows a lot about baseball. We had baseball reference books in the shop. We're talking about baseball. I was still playing and managing. It was all baseball all the time. So this was the last pitcher's pool. I have the standings like a month before the season was over. This pains me to say that Dennis was just having a killer year. Jim Pringle, not very well. So there's some other names in here, and you can look at this if you want, but the two scores I'd like to give you, and it's beautifully hand-drawn, like blueprints, okay?
Always.
So, in last place is Drew Kelly with 84 points. And then, tied for last place, also at 84 points, is Albert No Wonder Warren. And at the end of the handwritten page, I quote, "Again, I am an idiot. I love you, Albert."
I saw
Entree. Hi, love.
Drew.
Andre. Nice to meet you.
This is my KISS moment. Okay, Albert? I was his catcher for many years, as you all know.
Last pitch.
And so, those many years that I caught him, he was the best pitcher. I caught many through high school, through Babe Ruth. I even played American Legion ball, but I never caught a pitcher like Mr. Warren. But the other one the thing I want to tell you was out golfing with him one day. And we're standing around, I don't know, second, third, fourth hole, whatever it is, in Farm Neck. And he said to me, "You know, Andre, I want to give you a little bit of advice." And I went, "Oh, wow, cool. Albert's giving me some golfing advice, you know." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't eat the blueberries around the men's tee." Yes, Albert, thank you for that golfing advice. Doug, remember.
Come on. There's more of you. More people have stories. Good. Hey, Johnny.
little forewarning, I have, like Albert, he and I ended up in Spalding together sometime in 2014. I never really knew what put me there. It was somewhat significant in my life. Like Albert's brain bleed was a little significant for his life. But I woke up, I got flown off the island, and I roughed the kids' game on Tuesday night. By Saturday night, I was in Boston with no lungs, no heart, no anything. For whatever reason, I shut down completely. Still to be determined. It's under review. But anyway, I woke up and I was under the influence of a lot of drugs. At that point, I was seeing ferrets in my room, and Big Poppy had given me a baseball bat through a Jackson somehow. I don't know how this all works out. Also, I woke up and I see this guy sitting there. It's Dan Warren. And I said, he was looking at me. Hi, Tony. I'm like, do you know who I am? He said, and I said, yeah, I know who you are. He said, Dan, you haven't changed that much. I said, what are you doing here? And he said, well, Albert's in here. So Albert had an incident in Dennis's house and ended up in Spalding, and he was on the brain floor. At that point, I think I'd progressed to the amputee floor or whatever was going on in my life at that point. But when I first saw him there, he wouldn't talk to anybody. He was very, as you were saying, sullen and unwilling to. I said, Albert, let's get out of the room and watch the ball. I have to warn you too. I have some neurological difficulties. Everything can be a hallmark moment in a moment. So Albert wouldn't go. So I kept on going back to the room every day. And within a period of time, Albert started talking to me again. I mean, we had too much in the past in common to let it go. We played ball together. He and Franny Doyle were hitting 260-yard drives at the time, and we played golf, we played ball, we played everything together. It was fun. Stuff at the hot tin roof. Albert was a great guy. He was an excellent writer. The manifesto was dedicated to Lionel and the Blue Rock. I wish I'd brought the manifesto, but I sold my house and everything is in boxes and all over the place. But anyway, eventually Albert kind of got back. One day Lilith came to get him. Anyway, sorry. He was bound for Oakland. She was taking care of him, and he was going to go. It was the last I ever saw Albert, but he'd love to see you all here today. I'm sorry for my difficulties, but I'm not sorry I knew Albert. Thank you.
Greg Coogan. Did you have something to say? Major bartenders.
You know, you hear me in the back, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to say to add to what you all did. And have said before me, Albert, we crossed paths with boats and, grabbing hockey players off the ice and convincing them they could be softball players. I bought a boat in 1977, and Albert sailed with me quite a bit during that time, but then unfortunately for me, he went golf and I stayed with the boats, and that I always say you can't have a boat and play golf. They both take 5 hours on a Sunday, and if you're going to have a life, you can't do both. So I didn't get to spend as much time after that, but he lived at my house. He called the room 3B on the left. He repaired with Jimmy Ho, he took my garage, which was built in 1927, and rehabbed it, and they shingled the roof, and it lasted until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's a shop that Joe Grillo used for a little while, and I've used it all along. But I don't have a single moment that I think of. I learned from him. I laughed with him. I still know what my batting average was when I played for the Cozies. The first year, I know what my on-base percentage was because he'd say to me, "Steal first." What's the only way you're going to get on? Jimmy and Risen and I played on that Cozies team, and we both hit about $1.88, but we congratulated ourselves on having 300 or 400 on-base percentage. He was fast, and I don't remember what I was then, but I just think that it just puts a smile on my face. I'm listening to all your stories about Albert. It's kind of amazing that, I can throw it. It's kind of amazing that he spread himself, but it wasn't thin. You know, most people spread themselves thin. I know I do, but he didn't do that because think of all the people he touched under similar circumstances. Anyway, Alan and my dog Ernie, and before that Pone, and we did have a lineage to build on Kate's story. I was sitting in a Tisbury School teacher's room one day, and Jean Dowling and I started talking about her dog, my dog, Murphy, and her dog, where Murphy came from, and the lineage through Albert's dog. And there was a first-year Spanish teacher who was sitting there with us. And we're talking about all these dogs and where they come from, and she stands up and goes, "It's not freaking bad enough that you know where all the children come from and all the families, but you know where the dogs came from." Yeah. Anyway, one of the lasting gifts that Albert gave to us years ago. I mean, there's so many memories living in the cemetery house and all that. With Joe McCarron, who was just here recently, another friend, he was here for a few days. We did travel as a pack. He and, oh my God, we did the floor. I shouldn't tell this, there were no children here. We poured a floor in my garage, and Albert, myself, Joe, I'm probably leaving somebody out. Albert and I had no idea what we were doing, but Joe came in and went, "Okay, we got to get some re-rod here. Let's get some cyclone fence, put it down." I believe we probably, I'll just say, we may have done some things that were inappropriate, and then I think we called down to Jim's and got something to sort of straighten us out. We were trying to get a power trowel to smooth it out, but we wound up treating it with a 2x4, and nobody's ever slipped or fallen on that for 45 years. Anyway, it's hard to come up with, anyway, he lived at my house for a while, and
hard to come up with an appropriate story.
And I have some of those t-shirts too, and a lot of pictures. I've got hockey statistics from the first year at the rink, which Albert wrote down. It's got to be him because it's perfect writing. The numbers are perfect. So I still know how many goals and assists I had that first year. Nice. But that was you. I won't say on the cone, but. Anyway, no, I'm like, my gosh, I must have been fast. That's right. Jimmy Ho nicknamed me Red is. Anyway, but the one memory that Sharon's showing me over there, and I'll shut up soon. You asked for that. We had a cat named Yossarian, and we have some pictures of Yossarian and Yo-Yo. And Albert, I think he said to Sharon, could you watch her for the weekend? Yossarian lived to be 23. I couldn't remember them until
Yeah, boy.
I have a Phil story.
Oh, nice.
Ah, shit.
My uncle Frank Doyle lived right, the house right across from Albert. Go down there on weekends and stuff. And sometimes Debbie and I would both stay on the weekend. And we'd go to the Ocean View when he had Phil and get the prime rib with the bone in it. And so we'd come home at night with the bone all wrapped up. And Al would be sitting upstairs watching the Red Sox. And we'd bring that up. We'd open the door downstairs and you'd hear. Phil would be running down those stairs as fast as he could. He'd just stop at the last second. Just look at us and be nice. And he'd escort us back up the stairs to where Albert lived. And then Debbie would take the tin foil off the bone. She's like, "Now take it nice," I mean, because Phil can look like a mean, He'd take it like a little poodle, real carefully, put it in his mouth, and go over into his little bed. And sometimes Howie was there in your little pug. Daisy, yeah, and he'd go over and lay down and he'd just sit there like a little baby eating that, gnawing on that bone. And we did it a lot. I mean, we loved it doing that because it was such a great memory of going over to Albert's house on Saturday night with a prime rib bone. And when we go to leave, Phil would walk down the stairs with us and walk over, like escort us back to the house and say, "Okay, Phil, bye, good night." And he'd turn around and walk back to the house by himself. One night, we were almost at the door, and almost in a blur, I believe it was a rabbit ran by. Phil screwed and took off. He just chased the rabbit into the darkness. And Debbie said, "What happened?" I go, "He'll be fine. He'll come home. He's right across the street." Half an hour later, Albert's at the door. Phil never came home. Oh, shit. I'm afraid he got run over and you don't know what happened. And he's like, "I know you like to come over and visit, but you can't come over and visit Phil until I make sure he's all right." And he showed up sooner or later, but it's just an unbelievable story. That's what I wanted to tell you.
Thanks.
Michelle, you want to
Anecdote
talk?
about Phil. Phil would go nuts. He hated when someone would come over and take my dad's attention away from him. And he would just bark like crazy when there were people over. So my dad had two methods to get him to shut up so that he could have a conversation with someone when he was doing this. He would either cover a leather glove in peanut butter and just give it to Phil. That would shut him up for a while. Or he would just stare him right in the eyes and go, "I can whisper louder than you can."
Yeah, I know that one.
Over and over. "I can
Yeah.
whisper louder than you can bark." Until Phil would just kind of
So I pretty much only knew Albert from the softball league. And one thing about Albert, that when I think about him, it's the only thing I think about. I've battled against him many times, and I could never hit his knuckleball. He had the best knuckleball I've ever seen, and to this day, when I think about him, I think about his knuckleball.
Nice. Are we out of stories?
We needed to.
Okay.
Just one last thing before things wind up, and I may some other people want to speak. But I have to acknowledge Lilla's undivided love and attention that she gave to Albert all these years. I don't know another kid your age that could have ever taken on what you did. You're remarkable, and I know he loved you for it.